like I said, we'd worked together probably enough that he could make that decision. But to me, it still felt, what's going on? What on earth is he doing? The people he must have worked with, the people he must have connections to, what's he thinking? Really, the situation the club's in, he probably needs something more than I can offer. But he's been unbelievably supportive of me. It's given me free rein at times to go, listen, I have faith in you being a better coach than I am. I'm the manager, you're the coach. We need to have that dynamic, and I'm obsessed with coaching. I've not got any ambition to, take his job or anything, and he knows that. I think that's a really strong factor, that he knows he can trust me, and that I'm loyal on the side that I'm just obsessed with coaching. I want to get the best out of players, develop players, make them better for their benefit as well as ours collectively as a club, as individuals. We get a pat on the back if we're successful, but we only get a pat on the back. They're only successful if we can make them better. So the dynamic works well. Like I say, it's a combination of what your strengths are, but like I said, when I got the call, I was back at home in London, preparing for an 18s game with Orient, thinking, Christ, it's like some step.
Were you a little bit history
of the club.
Scared?
No, excited.
Yeah,
never scared. I've got to be honest, and that's not to be flippant about it or arrogant in any way. It was just that was never the issue. I was confident in my own ability and thought that I could, at some point, gain the trust of the lads, and because that's the only key really. I felt that I'd had the trust of the manager, but I still knew I had a lot to prove to him. He only worked with me on a number of occasions and stood back and watched sessions, and we'd chatted a lot about the game. Worked on a number of reserve team games that we were sitting in dugout together, so I guess he had a perception that I might have an idea of what I was talking about, but it was more excitement really than fear. I've got to be honest. It's what an opportunity. I suppose there could be an element of fear, but no chance. It was just excitement and what an opportunity. Most days I just sit and pinch myself that I'm in the same room as the pair of them, if I'm honest. And it shocks me even more that they're prepared to listen to my opinion occasionally. But they've both been fantastic. Obviously I met Kev a couple of years ago when he came into Orient. We didn't actually work too closely together at that point because obviously I was working with the youth team. And then we started to spend more time together once he'd been relieved of that, but was still around the building. Sometimes he had to train with the 18s with me, sometimes we'd just sit in the gantry and watch games together. And the relationship sort of grew from there. And obviously with Norm, I've come in and he's been fantastic. He's just such a nice fella, so experienced, so knowledgeable. I'm just sort of sitting there like a sponge, learning off the pair of them really, so it's great.
How ridiculous was that you're at Leyton Orient and Kevin Nolan's training with the 18s?
It's just staggering, really. It was fantastic for the 18s, fantastic for me to be working and making sure that I was keeping him happy. It wasn't about that, but if he was content with what has been delivered, I'm sort of going away thinking, okay, it must have been okay, because he's had a lot of experience and worked with a lot of people.
And he brought you here?
Well, yeah, obviously, in some way I've made an impression on him. So that's, obviously, really pleased about that, and very grateful for the opportunity, obviously, and loving every day at the moment. We've lived together for the last 6 months. So we've been at each other really well now. But yeah, that's been good as well, because we're both so sort of work hungry and ambitious, and we want to get the best for the club, for the players, for ourselves, for the fans, everybody. We just would like to be involved in a successful scenario. So it's been great because we've had that connection. It's brought us very close very quickly, if we weren't before, and we were, to be honest. But it's meant we're working 24/7. You go home and we'd sit in the office till 8 o'clock at night, because both of our families have been in London, so we might as well sit here and watch video as opposed to sit in a flat and watch rubbish. And even then we get back to the flat and we just crack on talking about the game or the team or the club or opposition. So it's been absolutely full on, but I think that's partly why you see what's been going on, because we're in each other's pockets and so on most of the time. I think, the first one, because the gaffer had drawn one and lost one when I came in, so I remind him often that he didn't get a win till I got in. So that was a good one. I think that was Crawley, was it, at home?
Yeah.
We have a bit of fun on that one. But besides that, it's not necessarily the results as much as the performances, given what my role is. Now, obviously, you want the results. You're not in it to not get results. But it's about performing well, because the results will come off the back of that over time. I think we share that. Norm is normally Well, certainly in the early days, I was like a kid at Christmas every time we scored a goal, and a lunatic. The pair of us were like lunatics on the sideline, and Norm was that voice of reason, just sitting back there. You two, calm down, think about this. And he would, come up with obviously always unbelievable content in terms of you might want to consider this change or that player's looking like this, and he just sort of was a steady head behind us in the early days. And now, I've got used to the role and feel comfortable and not quite so excited on the sideline. Can see it from a more measured approach.
More Jose than Klopp now.
Yeah. The gaffer's got quite excited recently about some officiating and bits and pieces like that, and he will always celebrate a goal like you've just scored it, and rightly so. It's a lot of hard work goes into it, so when you see that bit of success, it's nice. But I think we've all got that bit. I think when it's necessary, it doesn't come out very often. Like I say, we're generally quite sensible and deliver most things. As an educator, which is what you are, you're trying to educate the players to improve or to pick some information up. It's not always constructive to just scream and shout, even if it's gone badly. So the gaffer doesn't go into that mode very often. Occasionally when he needs it, or he's been wound up by that or peripheral issues. But generally we're quite calm and composed when we deliver information, because we feel it's the best way for the players to take it on board, which is key. We debate stuff and get in screaming matches at times. I was the worst referee in the world yesterday in the ball court apparently, and I was offering the whistle and I'd swap places with him. But it's healthy that we can speak to each other when we need to in a really brutally honest way, but there is no hangover to that. There's no sort of grudge after the event. It's, I gave my opinion, you gave your opinion. Now 5 minutes later we'll talk about it in a calm manner and establish that one of us was right or wrong. I'm just sort of somewhat analytical and want to be switched on to figures, facts, watch it over and over and over, so that I know that I'm right when I want to speak to the players or try and deliver something. It's totally acceptable that they might question it or have different opinions, but I want to know that I've seen enough, I'm aware enough of what's coming up, that I can hold my own in a debate or a conversation, because I've still got to earn that respect from them. It's, I'm still waiting for someone to turn around and go, "You're the under-18s coach," which is fine, and I'm expecting that. But I think, to be honest, I think we're beyond that point now. But when I first came in, obviously I was expecting that. Because you do have to earn the right. The senior players that have got a lot of knowledge, a lot of games behind them, and I haven't. So especially as a non-ex-player, you've got to be right the majority of the time. If your information is unclear or a bit wishy-washy or not necessarily convincing, then you open yourself up to criticism and to be questioned. So that's part of my reasoning. The gaffer just is football mad and obsessed like we all are. So the combination it worked pretty well, so yes, that's the way we are. I know you're sort of going down the path of a big name manager, which you do, but it's not about one person really for me. It's about anybody and anyone that can give me something that I can take into the way I practice. My sister and brother-in-law are both PE teachers. My other sister's a teacher, so they're educators of people. My dad's a coach, so it's sort of a family thing anyway. But I'll lean on them. I'll be constantly listening to how they talk, what they say, not in their practices maybe, but when we discuss work, I'll be as much into what they can give me, whether it's one little nugget of information that I can use on a regular basis. I'll take that as much as watching your Guardiolas, your Klopps, your Mourinhos, and the world's best, obviously. And in terms of who, I don't think anyone individually, your own experiences. I played at marginally above pub level, but there are managers in that level that bring so many good values. Over the course of 19, 20 years I've been coaching now, so over that course of time you've worked with different colleagues, and I would always say that our under-9s coach at Orient, I was academy manager, I'm getting things off the under-9s coach, going, fantastic. He's been away on a course or listened to someone else, or he's just got his own little mannerisms, and I'm going, that's a great trait, I'm taking that one. Or I'm taking that one, and I don't care who it comes from. If it helps me, which indirectly helps the players, which directly helps the club, I don't care where the information comes from. But it's just about anyone and everything really. Where business leaders in other fields. The boss, what a great example, great businessman. So I must be able to learn something off him for coaching. Now he wouldn't necessarily think or see it that way, but I'm going, there's something you do in your business structure that works on a coaching field, or with the way I organise my week, or whatever we do as a management team. So anywhere and everywhere that can make you 0.5% better, as we know, that marginal gain sort of stuff, it's all important. they've got to know and have the confidence they can speak to us. And I think the gaffer does that so well. They know. And then it's just about regular and constant dialogue on it. So it's not a taboo subject. It's not, oh, well, we can't be top. How long can we stay top? Don't worry about that. Worry about the processes that put us top. If you focus on being top, or every manager in the world goes, we want to win today. It's almost like the most pointless statement in the world, because the fella in the other dressing room is saying the same thing. The focus needs to be on the processes. How are we going to win? What we're going to do? Where we're going to play with the ball? What we're going to do at different times in the game? The state of the game. You need to focus on all those things to get the positive outcome at the end of the game. The result takes care of itself. If you do all those things, you've got a chance of getting the result you want. If you don't, you're probably going to come second. You'll have lucky days where you get something that comes off when you weren't prepared, or you didn't stick to what you're trying to do. But talking about the result or talking about being top is futile. You need to be talking about the processes that got us there, and then longevity will stay there. The more times we're there, or the longer we're up and around the top end, we haven't got to be top necessarily. We've got to be ready to have a push at the late end of the season to stay in the playoffs, be in the playoffs, get ourselves back in the playoffs, or stay in that automatic spot. And we'll deal with that in time. But it's about the process. I've repeated that about 5 times. It's one answer, but that is what it's about. It's not about focusing on we're top. It's the last thing you want to. Don't worry about the league. Let's not even bother looking at it. Let's worry about the next game.